Hey guys, it's Matt with BleepinJeep.com, and today I want to show you how to waterproof your Jeep for off-road use. But first I want you to check out our sponsor, rednecksrus.com. They provide rednecks like us with a way to find what we love to do easily. So check them out. They sponsored this video. I'd appreciate it if you check out their website. Do check out my website as well, BleepinJeep.com, where you can find all the best off-road videos on YouTube, none of the boring stuff, hats and t-shirts and other great stuff. BleepinJeep.com. Do subscribe as well and check out the Facebook page. Alright guys, let's get started. Okay, well I think the first thing that you should know is that your Jeep is not a submarine. Your Jeep was not designed to be a submarine, and your Jeep never will be a submarine. If you want to take your Jeep out into deep water, I do not recommend it. You're going to break something. It's going to be nasty. You're going to get water everywhere. Just like they said in Jurassic Park, nature will find a way. Well, water will find a way inside your Jeep. Not just on the inside, but inside the insides. So it's going to be really nasty, and I don't recommend it. Now if you need to take your Jeep through water for an emergency purpose, that's okay. Now if you need to get across a river, something like that, I can understand. But just putting your Jeep through the deepest part of water you can just for fun, no. Not a good idea. But if you do need to get through water for an emergency, if you do need to cross creeks, cross rivers, things like that, there are a few things that you can do, and we'll go over those real quick. Alright, so if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I used to have a snorkel on this green Jeep here. Now the snorkel came out here and it came all the way up to the roof. And the reason I got that snorkel in the first place was because I watched this movie called, I think it was Dante's Peak, and he had a Suburban, I believe it was, and they had to get away from the volcano, and to do that they needed to cross a river, and they used that snorkel in the movie. And I was just a kid at the time, and I thought, wow, that's really cool, I need to get one of those. And so when I got my first Jeep at 16, I put a snorkel on it. And I've wheeled this, I think, for 15 or 16 years now, and I've never, ever gotten it deep enough to need a snorkel. Probably the deepest I've ever got it was to where water was just barely coming in the doors, and I've wheeled it pretty hard and a lot of places over the years. So that just goes to show you that you can avoid water if you really want to. I put a snorkel on that black Jeep, obviously, and it's right up on top of the hood, and people said, well, that's not high enough. Well, if you're getting water up to the top of the bottom of your windshield right there, you're going to be in a heap of trouble, not just from water getting into the engine, but you're going to have all sorts of other problems, not to mention you're going to be soaking wet up to here, up to your chest. So I think for most purposes, a snorkel up on top of the hood right there where that black one is, it would be just fine. Like I said, I've never gotten it, I've never been in water that deep ever, 15 years that I've been wheeling. So the first thing that you're going to need is some type of snorkel. The worst thing that can happen to your Jeep or to an engine is to get water into the intake. Now normally on a Jeep Cherokee or most vehicles, the engine intake comes in right here at the bottom of the grill, and it goes into the engine there. On the black Jeep, I've just moved it up probably a foot. That's quite a lot. And then if you really need to get it up higher, you can make a snorkel that comes up to the roof line here. But if it's up here, you're going to need a snorkel yourself if you ever get it in that deep of water. So after the snorkel, the next thing you want to focus on is underneath, and that includes the axles, the transmission, the transfer case, and a few other things under here. Now every axle has a breather line, and let's see, this one happens to be right here on the pumpkin. On the rear axle, it's over on the side, coming off of the axle tube. And those on the rear, it just goes up into the frame. On the front, it kind of goes up to the engine. Now you can take those and extend those lines all the way up to, and I'll show you in a second, I've extended them up to the engine compartment here. Now also on your transmission and your transfer case, those have breather lines as well, and you want to get those up and out of the way, and I've extended those up into the engine compartment as well. Okay, so the transmission, the transfer case, the front axle, and the rear axle, I've got them all coming up here to this breather line, and on top I just put a little air filter. Now when you're routing those lines, they need to breathe, so you want to make sure that the lines are going uphill at all times. You don't want them twisted around or going back downhill, otherwise they can get fluid in them and they're not going to breathe. So make sure they're going uphill all times, and then you can put a little breather hose, or you can just put one of those little plastic breather caps at the top of that. Alright, the next thing you want to be aware of is sealing up your axles. Now on the front axle you've got 2 seals, which are right on either side of the pumpkin, but I've also picked up these aftermarket seals. I think Superior makes some, and they go on the outside here and they seal from dust and debris on the outside. So when you're going through mud and water, it keeps it out of the axle tube completely, and then you grease that fitting right there. You also want to make sure after every ride that you grease regularly, and you want to do that probably before and after a ride. Now you've got grease points all over. You've got them on your tie rod ends, your ball joints, you've got them on your U-joints, and water will get inside there no matter what. So after you go riding, or after you go through water, put grease through there, squeeze all that water out. That's the best thing you can do. And if you're using your vehicle off-road a lot, going through water puddles, you know, even if you're greasing all the time, water's going to get in there and it's going to do damage. You're going to have to replace these things more often. Alright guys, now we're in the engine compartment here. And now if you're up to, 4 or 5 foot deep of water, you are going to have major problems, and you're going to have water all in your electrical wiring and stuff. Now people are always asking me, how do you keep water out of your electrical components? Well, if you're in that deep of water, you're not, folks. I mean, water is going to get in here, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now the best thing you can do, is stay out of the water, but the second best thing you can do is get some of this dielectric tune-up grease and take things off like your spark plugs, put some of this dielectric grease in there, and then put them back on. Now that'll just act as a barrier and kind of keep the water out. But you've got so many electrical connections in here, there is no way you could keep all these from getting wet. So the best thing to do is just stay out of the water. Your most important electrical component though is right here, your cap and rotor. Now what you can do is you can take off the cap and you can put some RTV around the edge and kind of seal that, put it back on. It's going to make it a little bit of a pain in the butt when you go to replace it, but you can seal that up pretty good, because that is the thing that keeps your engine running is your cap and rotor and your distributor there. So you don't want to get water into that for sure. Your alternator, it doesn't like water either, but there's nothing you can do about that. Alright guys, so the next order of business is your fans. Now if you've got a fan, a mechanical fan with a fan clutch, that'll be, it's not, not going to be great going in deep water, but it should, the fan clutch should allow that to slip enough to keep it from sucking the fans into your radiator. Now if you don't have a clutch on your fan, then you're going to have major problems as well. So you need to get either a fan clutch or dual electric fans. Now when I had my snorkel, I had dual electric fans. Now I didn't like dual electric fans, that's another story, but what you want to do on your electrical fans is have a cutoff switch, a kill switch, because when you go into water, you need to kill that electrical fan, because you don't want that running underwater. That would be a major problem. It'd be like having a boat propeller underwater running off this little tiny electric motor. So you want a kill switch so you can turn off all of your electric fans, and you want a mechanical fan. If you have a mechanical fan, you want to have a clutch on it for sure. Alright, so if you're really going to go submarining around, what you want to do is to get your exhaust up high too, so you want to bring that up. Now I've never really had a problem with that. If I get in deep water, I just keep my foot on the gas. That keeps enough exhaust pressure to where it's blowing out, keeping the water out of the exhaust. Now if you happen to let off or turn the car off when you're in the deep water, then you're going to be in trouble as well. So if that's going to be a problem for you, make sure to get that exhaust up and out of the way. Another thing you might want to think about is drain plugs. Now I put these in here a long time ago. I used to have plugs that went in there, but they've since disappeared. But what that'll do is allow the water to escape after you've gone through a good dunking. Now, keep in mind, if you get water coming up through your floorboards that high, then your axles are going to be underwater, your tires, your transmission, your transfer case is going to be underwater, all of those electrical components that go along with those. So if you get water coming up into your floorboards, like I mentioned before, you're going to have electrical problems, you're going to have transmission problems, transfer case problems, and that kind of thing. So that is not a good sign. The only way you're going to find water that deep is if you really go looking for it, in which case you're really a redneck. You're really retarded. You deserve to have problems. Alright guys, so other than what I mentioned already, I don't think there's a lot that you can do to keep water out of your vehicle other than dry it off after you get out of the water. Once you get home, make sure you dry it out, air it out real good. Also, check the fluids. Check the differential fluid, check the transmission fluid, the transfer case, maybe change those fluids if you need to. Also, grease everything real good. So let's go over those again real quick. You want to, your air intake, you want to get your air intake up high. You want to bring all of your vent hoses up high. You want to get your fans, your electrical fans, you want to have a kill switch. You want to have a fan, if you have a mechanical fan, you want to have a clutch fan. Get some dielectric grease. Put dielectric grease on all your electrical connections. Try to keep them out of the water as best you can. You can seal up your cap and rotor if you really have to. And everything else, you're just going to have to let air out and let dry. I'm sure I forgot to mention a lot of stuff. So, if you have ideas, if you have suggestions, leave those in the comments below. I'm sure you do. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you check out our sponsor, rednecksrus.com. We make it easy to find what you want to do outdoors. So check them out, rednecksrus.com. Check out my website as well, BleepinJeep.com, where we've got all the best off-road videos, none of the boring stuff. We've got hats and t-shirts and other great stuff for you, BleepinJeep.com. Do subscribe right here to the YouTube channel and check out the Facebook page as well. Like I mentioned already, leave your comments and suggestions below and we'll see you next time. Okay guys, I hope you learned something there. I want to thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing and supporting the BleepinJeep channel. Now we've got a few options for you. First of all, these videos can be costly and take a lot of time to do. And if you want to contribute, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, the option for that is right over there. Also, we'd love for you to check out the t-shirt store. The link for that is right down there. We've got these t-shirts, this hat, and more at bleepinjeep.com/store or that link. Also, we'd love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That option is right below. It's free. You get updates via email every week when we upload a new video. Also, we'd love for you to check out the website, bleepinjeep.com, or click this link right here. We've got all kinds of off-road videos. We've got how-to videos, off-road parks, and discount coupon codes, and more. So check that out, bleepinjeep.com. Alright guys, thank you very much for subscribing and supporting, and we'll see you in the next video.